Guys, right now we've got Stacy Shannon, Anita Best, Lisa Welko, Scott Diener, and JD Bush with a big bright background. I just see a big black figure, but I think that's JD in there. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We may be joined by a couple, 3 or 4 others. I just quickly reached out. We're on a Sunday afternoon. These guys are dedicating their time this afternoon to meet, and we'll be sending this out as soon as possible, probably Monday morning, just to share from our hearts about this crazy time we're in, this unprecedented, weird, frustrating, annoying, and a little bit scary time we're all experiencing together. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of IFPG. I ask each 3 simple questions, and I'll start with Stacy. Stacy, you got the questions, but I'll read them off. And why don't we talk about the first 2, and then we'll hit the last one in the second round. So the topics are your opinion of the situation we're facing as franchise consultants. How you doing right now?
That's a great question. And actually, I feel very blessed because I'm in a couple mastermind groups with a couple of these great ladies that are on the call as well, and had an opportunity to connect with them both this past week. And honestly, I'm newer to the franchising role, just under 2 years. And so this is unprecedented territory for me to go through. I certainly have seen a dip in the lead generation portals that I've been using. And so really but I'm a very positive person. So I know that this is going to turn around, that this is a period of time that we're all going through, that hanging in there, staying connected, talking to others that are going through the same situation like all of us on this line, and those of you that will be listening, is critical during this time. I mean, we're dealing with unprecedented times. So having a little more time on my hands right now, I'm trying to find more constructive ways to connect with individuals on a different level.
Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate your just being on here, your support, your sharing, your caring. We'll have plenty more to talk about, ways to go forward, best practices we're each following. Lisa, let's jump over to you. How you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good. I've been lucky enough to have been doing this for a while, and so I can't say any of us have seen this sort of thing happen before, but I think the biggest thing has always been to be a consultant and to educate. And so I think right now, we just have to remember we're consultants and it's our job to educate. So as long as we kind of stay that course and really maybe over communicate with people that we, maybe weren't doing a great job of, and just kind of letting them go through the pace. I know I'm keeping really close track, especially those in my pipeline who are in the middle and at the end, and letting everybody know it's okay to tap the brakes, but don't slam on the brakes. Keep on looking, add a couple questions to, the questions that you're asking. It's a great time to validate. It's a wonderful time to be validating. So I think that's the biggest thing is just kind of remembering what we're here to do. We're not here to sell franchises. We're here to educate and introduce people and keep the communication open. As long as we remember our role and we stay in that role, I think the ones that are good at it are going to do fine.
Absolutely right. And I'll pause. Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm not sure if this will work on the recorded version that folks will be listening to soon, but up in the top right, there's a gallery view and a speaker view. So you can click gallery or speaker and see all of us equal, or you can see whoever's speaking as the big picture and the rest up top. JD, how you doing? What's your perspective on the world we're in today? And then in a moment, we'll come back and talk about what are you doing moving forward.
Obviously I've had, life was absolutely great. I don't know if I told you either. I also broke my neck about 4 weeks ago. So I took off my brace for the deal. So that's why I have the bandage where I had surgery on my spine. But no, I mean, obviously besides that and surviving that, which has been unbelievably beautiful. I mean, obviously I have a lot of people in the pipeline, a lot of great candidates. And I think that Lisa hit it right on the button. It's about consulting. I mean, we're in a time that nobody here has ever happened. We can't go back and say, oh, when this happened 20 years ago, this is what I did. None of us have ever happened or been in any situation like this in our entire life. So a lot of the candidates I have right now have been just more of, let's go stay in the path. Let's keep doing our research. Let's keep making sure that we're doing our due diligence. I mean, obviously a lot of pretty much all franchisors that I know of have gone to more of a virtual discovery day and or making one. Even if people have got that pipeline where they still want to get to that point where they want to go through that process, that pipeline, but it is a little different. I mean, I'm not pushing anybody to close. I'm not pushing anybody to move forward anyway. I mean, majority of the franchisors, I know personally myself with having and overseeing over 40 locations that I own personally, and as an RD, we have every location closed. Most franchisors that I work with directly are closed as well. So it's a little different time. It's hard to try to tell somebody to go buy a location and start the process to opening when we're kind of unknown of when will stores open back up. When majority of the franchisors, at least the retail space that I'm at, obviously knowing all restaurants and bars have been closed for a while now. But obviously I think that comfortability of being that the franchisors are back open, the businesses are back up and running, and I think it's just good to let them know that will happen. Things will come back and we'll be stronger than ever. And like I said, I think all of us will be stronger coming out of this than we ever been. And I'm looking forward to that, obviously, but still building a pipeline and still walking through people through the process, and just let them know either way that franchisor is going to be there, and you got to really do your due diligence and keep the process going. That's really
nice.
Sorry to talk too long.
No, you didn't at all. We're good. So thank you, JD. And in a moment, I'll get you guys thinking about some things. After we go through this first round, I'm going to ask everyone for sectors, not any specific franchises, but sectors that you feel are going to be really hot real soon. And so be thinking about that. What are you going to do to get those leads in the future? Anything different, anything special or highlighted, and then any sectors you think will be really hot. Scott Diener, please share with us. I'm going to fix something over on my other computer. Share with us your perspective on what's going on today and how you doing.
Well, I think everybody's right. It's being that mentor, being that advisor, not being a salesperson, being compassionate and understanding everybody's position, really focusing on the family, talk about what's going to happen with their job, learning about them, trying to keep them engaged through this process. If you try and sell and push through it, I think you're going to hit a brick wall. I think it's trying to position them so that they're ready, maybe in a month, maybe it's 2 months, not sure. We've got a pretty good sized pipeline now, but everybody's paused. It's just not a stop, but everybody's just going a little bit slower. And if I was in their position, probably the same thing. So if we can just kind of just keep connected with them. It's once a week calls. It's really staying engaged and really not changing much at all. In fact, trying to get more engaged and maybe get more leads. The pipeline that I see or the sources, they've got more people clicking in and people are home. People are easier to get hold of. Why? Because it's family time right now. And so I think it's actually a good time to position yourself for the future.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Anita, who opened us up today with a wonderful video. How you doing? Where you at mentally? What do you think about the state of where we're at in franchise development?
Well, I'm gaining weight. I'm eating and drinking too much.
Amen.
Trying to get outside and walk. I can't go to the gym. But I agree with everything that everyone has said. It is a time to educate, but I think even another step is it's a time to create relationships. I think very few people are going to be pulling the trigger in the next 30, 60. I hope maybe by then it'll be over, but people are not going to be pulling the trigger at this time. They're afraid. They're looking at their finances, what is changing. They're looking at the world, what is changing. And I think just being there, there's a women's association in the organization that has about 200 women in the area where I live. And about 2 weeks ago, the board started calling every single member saying, are you okay? Do you need anything? What can we do to help you? And I was blown away by that. And I said, well, look, if you guys get overloaded, I'm not on the board, but let me know if I can help too. And so I started calling on my friends and doing that. And it's been amazing, or texting. A lot of it I've done through text or email. But I'm going to start doing that with my clients, some of the ones that have fallen by the wayside, or maybe that got a job, but they're going to be losing it now, and not calling them and talk about franchise or emailing them and talking about franchise, just calling them and saying, can you believe these crazy times? How are you doing? How is your family? And just relate to people and build that relationship. They will remember. They know you got franchise stamped on your forehead while you're talking to them. But I just think building those kinds of relationships, if they are going to be ready later, they're going to be more likely to remember you and reach out, or if they know someone else that can use your services, that they will. So I'm looking at this really more as a relationship building time.
So that includes the franchises you've helped already that have been awarded 6 months, 6 years ago. You're following up with them, checking on them from a personal standpoint, never even say the word franchise perhaps in that conversation.
Absolutely. I think anybody you can talk to right now and show that you care. But I think particularly with past clients and or with clients that got a job instead of buying a franchise. I think that's like going to be one of my first targets, because some of them are going to lose it, you know, and I just think it's a great time to reach out and show people that you care.
Nice. Yes, they'll lose it more way than one. There at my household, we lose it daily. And we have been joined by the wonderful Bill King. Bill, thanks for jumping on here. We're talking about our mindset today, where we at, and how we doing in our current environment. And in a moment, we'll come back and talk about the future and what we're doing differently.
This is a lot of brain trust on one call. So what I'm going to say, because apologies to all of you, I'm a bit late jumping on. And I'll probably echo a lot of what's already been said. I want to emphasize a couple of things, though, that I think we can all quickly agree to. One is that we have to be sensitive and empathize to the position of the candidate. You know, to the extent that this has affected any one particular individual depends on their perspective and where they sit. So we shouldn't assume that everybody is okay. I think the best thing that we can do is be an example of calm. And I think somebody before I got on said that they thought one of the best contributing factors that we can provide a candidate is education. And I think that's true. I mean, education and information. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. I think how you present it is what's tantamount to any of us hanging on to our client, making sure that we're a change agent and separating unfounded emotion, ungrounded emotion with facts. You know, I think it's okay to challenge a candidate when they say, whoa, you know, I'm going to be like everybody else. I'm going to jump over the edge with the rest of the sheep here. I've surrendered. Nothing is going to be good coming out of this. Really, give me an example of why you believe that. You see, I think that there's in any kind of economic downturn or any other challenging environment, there is opportunity. One has to adjust their mentality as to whether or not they're going to accept it or be a leader in it. I tend to think it's easier to become a leader. It's the same energy, by the way, if you want to take a pessimistic approach or an optimistic approach. Same energy. I don't know. Seems to me it's a better choice to be more optimistic. I happen to think that there's so many good things going on there, but your candidates need to be led to it. I think there's certain sectors that are going to come back very, very quickly, and others are going to ramp up more quickly than their model might otherwise suggest in a different kind of environment. Technology being one. I know this is self-serving, but commercial cleaning. I can tell you right now that mint conditions business, they're overwhelmed. They're absolutely overwhelmed. And I'm not saying that that's the answer to any of these issues that we're confronted with, but I do use that as an example of things that you might want to talk to your candidate about as an advantage in moving forward. And I echo what everybody else has said. I think it's a great time to be deeper into your relationship with your candidates. I'm reaching out more regularly, talking to my people. I'm using this kind of a format to personalize it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best thing that we can do is be an example of calm and providing just a little bit of intellectualism. By the way, my name and that term are never used in the same sentence. You know what? People are emotional right now, and our job isn't to support that if it's unfounded. Our job is to challenge it. Why did you come to me in the first place? How does no action take you anywhere closer to solving that issue?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to dominate here.
It's good, brother. Good stuff all around. Thank you for that. Now, I encourage you to, in the social media world and on the phones as well, you can really offend folks if you're, it's not letting me jump on here. I guess you guys can see me. I'm still seeing Bill, but it's not a balanced post. So I posted something last, I guess maybe Monday or maybe it was Friday the before, and it was pretty positive. I thought, you know, I've never been accused of being a pessimist, and I had a couple people get offended by my positivity. The world's falling apart. F you. You need to stop trying to sell us something. And I'm like, Betty, I didn't try to sell anything on that. I was just talking about the good that's in the world today and what's happening. And so another piece of that was on Monday, 6 days ago, we were going to send out to everyone the 24 mistakes. I did a little 24-minute video on the 24 mistakes I see consultants make. Just a piece of our training. We're integrating it into our CFC training. We held off on that because, you know, I'm all joyous and bubbly throughout it, and it's a somber time. There's a place for positivity and encouragement in anything we do, but at the same time, I got to be careful not to go over top and chap some people off. You might have heard some of this the other day, but some positive news we can share with our consultants. We've all seen China turn to significant corner, a lot of life coming back to normal there, and they're of course ahead of us a bit. Money from a lending standpoint, cheapest ever. Marketing dollars in a lot of sectors are cheapest ever, from, you know, ad pay-per-clicks, or at least cheapest in probably 5 to 10 years. Each day this past week, I had Zors contacting us. Now, I haven't been proactively going after folks. I've been respecting that they're dealing with their franchisees a whole lot more than looking to join us. But I had Zors every day this past week contact us about joining us. So that was very encouraging. Each day this week, I've had spoken to folks who are interested in becoming consultants. Each, you know, there are. I posted something on LinkedIn. You know, there's two ways to be a fear right now. There's fear of health, legit, and there's fear of the economy, extremely legit as well. And most folks have a much bigger fear on the economy standpoint than on the health standpoint. Most folks, and there's neither right or wrong.
Not to interrupt you, but to that point,
yes, sir.
You know, a recent announcement, I think as recent as yesterday, the Fed $1.4 trillion. Anybody want to write that number out and see how many zeros is in that? They're going to infuse $1.4 trillion into this economy. This is not like 2008, where we had a meltdown of the banks. When this thing comes back, it's going to come back quick and roaring. Who wants to be in front of this? Because the guy that's out in front, the guy that's got a little bit of vision or help seeing this and developing the vision, is going to win on the return of this economy.
Yes.
I've been buying stock all week. Buying stock. I'm not crazy. It's an unprecedented opportunity.
It's smart. Well, I posted something on LinkedIn, on Facebook, if you're following me or if we're connected there, just this morning. That was an absolutely fascinating article, very long article, probably 100 paragraphs. Man, the graphs and the details and the facts and the science behind it was so encouraging to me for the future and frankly the present, on both the health and the economy standpoint. Absolutely incredibly impressive. Look at my LinkedIn or Facebook feed for that. Okay, Shannon. What are some hot sectors? Now, Bill jumped the gun, shared a few that are in his mind for the consultants in the future, not just hot sectors that we might be wanting to show more of, but also just any other tactics, any other advice for the future. And I'm talking future next week, next month, next quarter.
Sure. So yeah, Bill, I definitely appreciate your input there. I personally am focusing on, if so I'm trying to stay relative to the times, and when I'm reaching out, connecting. So I've been amping up my electronic communication, whether it's via email, blogging, LinkedIn, what have you, just to really communicate, but keep it relative to the time. With that said, you know, there's a huge list that a Zor sent out in the past couple days that talks about essential services. So that is of what the U.S. government deems as essential services during these times. That is a great reference point to share with clients, you know, that are scared or want to pause. So cleaning services, healthcare, there's a ton of sectors, and those two being some of them, whether it's corporate cleaning or other types of cleaning, sanitization, what have you. But that list is one that I'm focusing on. And fortunately, a couple weeks ago, had initiated a pay-per-click campaign where I'm focusing on a few of those brands that are considered essential services and are going to talk to people today that will resonate with it and can perceive it as recession resistant.
Nice. Thank you. Forget the order we're going in. Miss Lisa, thoughts?
Thoughts on what am I showing or what am I doing?
Showing and doing in the future.
Okay, so with Stacy, you know, I think anything in home services, cleaning, healthcare, definitely anything green. I think the word, you know, it used to be the buzzword was always recession resistant, and then for a while it became Amazon proof. And now who knows what the next word is going to be? Is it going to be pandemic proof, pandemic resistant? We don't know, but I think we have to prepare for those questions and just get in front of them a little bit. I mean, I've spent last week and most of the weekend just updating my email drips and adjusting my language right away, because I don't want those to come across as canned. I always want them to come across as current and happening. So I've just been updating those a little bit to make sure that we are cognizant of what's going on with the times. But I think anything in home services is going to be big. And commercial services, B2B, right now, they need our support. There's so many brands out there right now that are, I mean, I don't want to say that they're capitalizing on this, but they haven't missed a spot. And if anything, like what Bill said, some of them are right now overwhelmed with how busy they are or how busy they're about to be. And those are the brands that we want our people in front of. We want them talking to franchise owners that say, oh yeah, in 2020, no, I didn't miss a beat. I actually got really, really busy and needed to hire 2 more people. That's exactly the kind of brand we want to show.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I'm looking for a credit card so this thing doesn't kick us off before I upgrade us to a paid service. Hey, let's get JD Bush, share with us your thoughts on what you're doing in the future. Any hot sectors you suggest?
I haven't made any shifts really. I mean, at this time, obviously, it's still to play on the direction. Obviously, my main focus has always been mainly health and beauty. Obviously, fitness is, I kind of follow the IFA in the way of where things were at. You know, obviously, several years ago, health and beauty was #1 in the way of where leads are going and growth. Obviously, #1 right now is fitness, which is good and bad. I think out of 300-something new franchisors every year, 100 of them are fitness. In some ways, to be honest with you, that scares me a little bit. I think there's a couple really great fitness brands out there that if I get candidates that are really focused or looking more in that fitness arena, that I definitely recommend. So I have that kind of in my back pocket and ammunition. And of course, really in the top 3 to rank them out is really childcare services. So I've been trying to get and really have something in an arsenal, I guess, for that child care services that are out there as well. But I've been always kind of really, again, played in that really focused, hyper-focused, I would say, health and beauty services and fitness even for the last 26 years. So it's been where my focus has been. And I obviously, as you know me, I'm very focused on 5 or 6 different companies and really focus on the selling of those companies and had a lot of success with those until they until they veer off, or somebody else that's really good or hot, our great leadership team comes in. So that's kind
Nice.
of been where I'm at.
Thank you, JD. Scott Diener, thoughts on the future, and any hot sectors, anything else you suggest consultants do differently?
Well, one of the things that I've done in the past, but I think it's even more so now, is get financing up front, get that pre-qualification, because the dynamics are certainly a lot different. If you think about, the 401ks could have changed. How do you go through the financing? If they feel comfortable with the right financing package, then they'll move further through the process faster. And so I've engaged even more so now of talking through very early as a parallel path. As far as probably not much anything different. I mean, everybody else has made great comments, and rethinking your process, rethinking what you do, how you do it. And most of all, I think it's being compassionate and really understanding people's position, so that you come across as not that sales agent, right? Your education, mentorship, advising, helping people. What else? Industry is probably right on with everybody else. It's all kind of the same. Thinking technology, boy, they can't hire enough IT people right now. If you think out there, because every company's trying to figure that out, buying stock in Zoom or whatever it is, right? I think everybody's trying to figure out this home-based and how do you operate through that.
Thanks, Scott. Bill King, any other thoughts for the future you suggest consultants focus on, do differently to maximize the opportunity?
I don't know that I'd offer anything in the way of doing anything differently. I think I would instead say do everything you're doing consistently. You can't put your head in the sand. Unless someone doesn't own a television, they know what's going on. I think what you need to do really is, as somebody suggested before, deepen the relationship, talk to your people more frequently, use different modes of connection. This personalizes it. I'm a big fan of Zoom and using GoToMeeting. I say do more of what we normally do with a caution. And I think the caution's been mentioned here. Unless you're intimately understanding of where your candidate stands and what is affecting them and to what extent, do whatever is possible to avoid going into the selling mode. That's not the time. There's never a time for it, honestly, but this is not an appropriate time to be pushy or aggressive. It is a time, though, to be challenging in a good way, and I do mean a productive way. Ask the question, why is anybody afraid of saying, well, how has this affected you and to what extent? Have you lost the support of your family? Is it a financing issue? Because if it's financing, let me talk to you about some new loan programs that just came on board. I think we need to be different than before with respect to offering more updated, quality, good information. Don't be making crap up. If you know of a franchisor that's offering financing, that's great. But it shouldn't be presented as though all franchisors are offering financing of any sort. So I don't think we ought to do much of anything different. Just do more of what we've been doing consistently and focus on your candidate and focus on deepening your relationship. I also think that one might need to spend more time within our portfolio, as Stacy suggested, becoming more familiar with what we have to offer, because I would challenge a lot of people that don't know what we offer. And there are certain sectors, as we talked about so far, where we've got multiple opportunities. Bring those to the front, paint them red, excuse that pun, paint them red, and talk to your client about how they may perform differently in this environment and more advantageously for them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill. Carol Mercurio sent me some information. She was not able to make it. I'm going to do my best to read some of this. Guys, we got 2 minutes and 17 seconds before it kicks us off here. Bill, I'll mirror what you said regarding tough love. Give them the truth. Yeah. Also mirror. Find out where they're at. Mirror it, but on the side of optimism and strength and encouragement. She says, What are we doing differently now? The business is much harder now than it was when I first started as a consultant. People have more resources, more information, and then there are far more franchise consultants out there than ever before. The cost of business has risen significantly, but our commissions have too, to handle demand. I sure don't want to lose and lead a candidate that cost a premium to get into my system due to our current events. The last thing we want to do is assume that this is all doom and gloom, though. And from all the leads we're receiving, a mentor of mine told me many years ago, you can either go with the trends or you can change the outcome. We need to try to change the outcome and not assume that this isn't the right time for people to look for a franchise. Amen to that, Carol. This is a good time to catch people at home since many are quarantined. The biggest objection might likely be, I want to wait until the virus blows over. I get it, makes sense. Perhaps the best approach is to agree with the person, acknowledge their concerns, and look at it as a way for them to use the extra time that they have now to go through the due diligence process. We said that. I just said to one of my candidates Friday, it's going to take weeks to come through this process, to complete your process. By the time you're finished your research, the outcome of this virus will be very clear for you and to be able to make the right decision at that time for your family if you want to move forward or not. And he totally agreed, and he kept moving forward. I also am thinking, less than a minute, I'm also thinking putting together an email to send it to the folks that I have been unable to reach, checking on them, showing love and compassion. Her predictions for the looking forward is this is going to be the craziest time we'll ever think back to, and this too shall pass. She's very optimistic about the future. Guys, love you, appreciate you. We're going to do some more of this. Look for many more communications. We're going to make the best of this, support each other. Reach out to me if I can help. In fact, if you just want to talk about fears, you want me to pray for you, whatever I could do to help. Everybody in this call I know is available, and the support team at IFPG Corporate is available too. Appreciate everyone.